Okay, thank you so much. So I'll begin by the issues affecting Mount Kenya youth today as we speak, and one of them is alcoholism. We all know that a lot of illicit drugs are being sold in Mount Kenya, especially hii pombe ambayo inalewesha mpaka macho inapotea. And this has bedeviled our young men to an extent that even some of them are not getting married. As we speak today, I'm not married. I've looked around in Tharaka Nithi County, Meru, and it's a big issue. And as a result, we've gotten issues of mental health. Young men are committing suicide daily. We are seeing every day these issues. And they're very well by even the DCI. You see very, very funny stories talking about alcoholism. And if you can do an analysis, you will see clearly that mostly it's from Mount Kenya region. So issues of alcoholism and mental health, honorables, they are an issue that affect Mount Kenya youth. Secondly, and I believe this is cross-cutting, is unemployment. The issue of unemployment comes as a result of lack of economic expansion. Our economy is not expanding as a fast rate as young graduates. We are talking of issues of internships and mentorships. While internships work very well for young leaders who have graduates, older graduates require some sort of mentorship. And today as we speak, I remember the likes of Tom Mboya were being included in leadership at an age of 27 years. What are we saying? Let's not just ask for experience. Let's take the hand of young, capable leaders and include them in leadership. Watajua hiyo maneno baadaye. So young people must be included in leadership and they will gain experience at that particular point in time. The other issue, still related to economic employment and financial inclusivity, will be the matter of wheelbarrows. Hapana hatuwezani haki, ukweli kabisa hatuwezani. We cannot and we cannot. We need more structures, more stable economic policies, and we have them. It's we need a more stable economic policy that will drive this country to the next level. And I don't believe wheelbarrows are it. And asanteni sana. And finally, as I leave, we know that currently the IEBC is in the process of registering voters. 70% are young people. And if you are aspiring and you're coming to the mountain, first of all, you must sit down as we are seated today, and you must acclimatize. It's not a journey of running around. It's a journey of 1,000 miles, and you must sit down and acclimatize at the table. And what are young people saying? Young people are saying that atuta tumika come 2022. That's our clarion call. And as I beg to leave, I will sing this song by the late Kajwang, and all of you please will help me to sing it. Vijana msilale. Vijana msilale, bado mapambano, 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 bado mapambano. Thank you so much.
These are the future leaders. Let's give a more hearty clap to Nkirote. Thank you very much, Nkirote. The next speaker is Jane Waithera. Jane Waithera. Jane. You want to use the mic?
I think
okay. Right. Yeah. Can you use that? 3 minutes, Jane.
Okay. Good afternoon.
Can you use it?
Okay. Muriega. Good afternoon, everyone. All protocols observed. My name is Jane Waithera, and I'm also a girl from a small village in Nyeri County. And as you can see, I have albinism. And I was the only girl who looked like me in an entire county until when I was 19 is when I met someone else who looked like me. So when I speak here, I speak from experience of being a child with a disability in a rural setup in Kenya. And I also speak as a woman who has also encountered multiple discrimination on the basis of my impairment. So today we are here because we need to talk about the issues that affect persons with disabilities in the Mount Kenya region, to be specific. And I'll start with the first one. You know, Kenya as a country, we've made a lot of progress in terms of representation of persons with disabilities in both elective and appointive positions. There's a 5% quota. But what is sad is that a lot of our counties in the Mount Kenya region, and I mentioned Nyeri, Murang'a, Nyandarua, among others, do not have the representation of people with disabilities in the county assemblies. So that's one of the key challenges that we as people with disabilities face. We are left out in key decision-making processes. The other big challenge, and I also see it here today, is communication barriers. We are in political environment and discussing politics and who leads this country in the next elections. But then, if we had a listener here who has a hearing impairment, they would be left out because they cannot laugh when you people are laughing, because they cannot understand what we are all saying here. So that being said, it therefore goes further to not just communication barriers in terms of sign language, but also thinking around how do we disseminate our political materials and education materials. We have voter registration going on. We don't know how far this has been inclusive of people with disabilities. I say I am a firm believer of disability inclusive development, na kwa Kiswahili ni kusema maendeleo yanayojumuisha watu wenye ulemavu. Maendeleo yanayojumuisha watu wenye ulemavu ni ukijenga hospitali unakumbuka kuna mlemavu ataingia kwa ile hospitali. Ukijenga kanisa, ukijenga barabara unakumbuka kuna mlemavu atataka kutumia wheelchair kwenye ile barabara bado. Kwa hivyo I really hope that the future and the leaders of this country in the future will be able to think about us and our needs without forgetting us at all. And this means then we must be involved meaningfully and be consulted in decision-making processes on issues that affect us. And I go to the next challenge, which I think all of us are aware. Siasa ni pesa. I think that's the saying we all talk about. But when you think about siasa, pesa na mlemavu, in many cases because of the historical barriers. When you think about education, we don't get to go to school. There's no school that can admit me in my neighborhood. I eventually become unemployed. And even when I want to do business, I have no access to financial inclusion. That therefore means even the day Waithera, the little girl from the village, wants to vie, she does not have the resources. She does not have the money. And who believes in Waithera to invest in her? Takes me to the next challenge of attitudinal barriers. Here, walemavu, hawajiwezi. You know, like we are seeing more of kusaidiwa. So at the end of the day, persons with disabilities who want to participate in the political spaces also encounter now resources barriers, and these can only be resolved by people investing in the of persons with disabilities. I have a call to leaders present here. We would want to hear as people with disabilities. What is for people with disabilities from the Mount Kenya region? The next one is that we are willing and open to talk to you and share our issues and the challenges that we encounter. And I close with a small story that my grandmother gave me. The story of the umbilical cord. All of us from the know, like when a child is born, the umbilical cord is supposed to be buried behind the house. Then the missionaries, women were told to start going to hospitals to deliver in hospitals. But a lot of women from the mountain who are not willing to go to hospital for delivery, they still choose to remain with their lives. And a lot of people invested in building hospitals, all these children are still being born at home, and there was a maternal death. Then somebody wondering, why do we have hospitals in Mount Kenya? Because we have a lot of many nice hospitals there, but women still deliver at home. Somebody to the women and umbilical cord will be buried at home. When you so that cord is left in the hospital. So that is the main reason these women were not going to hospital. So if you want to address issues of persons with disabilities, don't make decisions without us. Bring us to the decision-making table, and you will have solutions that meet our needs and respond to what our needs are. Thank you. I remain there. Thank you.
Thank you for being that articulate. The next speaker is none other but Reverend Canon Karanja. 3 minutes.
Excellency, Honorable Council Musiok, Your Excellency, Honorable Musalia Mudavadi, both former Vice President, Honorable Moses Wetangula, Honorable Cyrus Jirongo, the Chair, Vice Chair, and members of the Board of Mount Kenya Foundation, other elected leaders present, ladies and gentlemen, I am delighted to share a few thoughts at this new and prophetic meeting. Prophetic because it represents a new way of engaging between persons offering themselves to provide leadership in our country at various levels and constituencies which are bold enough to declare interest in national outcomes and seeking with each other. It's a mode of meeting will gain traction and replace the complacent place or complement the hype and cheering victories. Biblical approval expression was come now. Let us reason that. In Romans 1 says there is no power given but from God, and all leaders are allowed by God to become leaders. Daniel 2:21 says, it is God who changes times and seasons, deposes things and others, giving wisdom to the wise and knowledge to the discerning. As Kenya moves to the next general election, it is clear that in the final analysis, God will be a silent and observed, but an unexpected player, decisive one. That does not negate the right for humans to power and do everything they can. It just creates the context in which power may be sought and found. Allow me to dwell a little on the anxieties of my in particular, because this is there, and Kenyans in general, because the concerns are truly national. In Proverbs 29 verse 2, Solomon says, when the righteous is in authority, the people rejoice, but rule, the people mourn. Every Kenyan hopes, when the elections are over, the person would be righteous and run their Kenya in joy and rejoicing for all. People in the past, during the colonial era, post-independent regimes observed gradual neglect, leading to destruction of infrastructure, economy, security, human potential, and social fabric within their region. The devastating results linger on. It may take 100 years to overcome the impact of such neglect in such ways. I note that the conversations around BBI sought to redress structural injustice that we are forced to live with. The concerted effort of some leaders to undermine BBI appeared to be a purposeful plan to perpetuate the injustices in Kenya, while at the same time, the same leaders aggressively sought the support of Mount Kenya power. Kenyans in general hope, one, there can be a general consensus as a national value that as we move to 2022 elections, there will be commitment to a united, cohesive, and country, safe, and to their potential. Secondly, there can be clarity around witnessing the potential of Kenya for the prosperity of all, no attempt to stigmatize or curtail in family and collective create growth. This is creating a conducive environment for activity and production. In such an environment, we hope that there will be absolute commitment to a fair and just of national resources. We must ensure that every Kenyan is facilitated to national development, but also receives an equitable share of the spoils. Mount Kenya people would like, as they bring to the table their numerous votes at the elections, to be sure that their interests are clearly understood and will share in the negotiation commensurate with their vote and demographics. Now, this does not exclude others. I think it is time that all communities, instead of cheering and shouting around, get around to the table soberly discussing what are their interests, how do we make Kenya work, what is the stake they want in it. May today's meeting and deliberations contribute to the sobering of the national political conversation and profile community interests that must all be taken into account and balanced with those of other constituencies as political machines are oiled and organized. May God bless this meeting and bless Kenya. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Canon. Our next speaker is none other but Ms. Purity Ngujiri, who will speak on behalf of the women fraternity. I can hear the ladies are excited.
Thank you.
3 minutes?
Thank you. I'll even speak 1 minute.
1 minute, great.
God is good. And all the time. Honorable guests in the room, O.K.A. Foundation, all ladies present, honorable members of Parliament, Your Excellency, the Governor Wabora, the Deputy Governor Karo Karugo. Mine is very short. As I speak on behalf of the women of Mount Kenya, I will request the leaders of Jubilee Party who are present to stand up, and I will request the director and your team to please stand up and wave the crowd. Jubilee women in the room. Mheshimiwa Nyokavi, our advisor, wave the crowd. Thank you very much. On behalf of the women of Mount Kenya, mine is very short because I want to speak about water. And I'm requesting our chief guest of honor, because we assume you are taking over the mantle to continue with what our Excellency, the President Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta, have done for women in this country by transforming our lives, by assisting us in getting water. Because water gives a woman and a family a dignified life. When we talk of water, you know we have a lot of diseases in water that are caused by cleaning dirty water. We know in the blueprint there is water, Vision 2030, we know it talks about all the homes having clean water. It is our humble request, when you be there, please think about having water in all the. We want to thank Equity and Maendeleo Women because they signed an MOU of harvesting water in all the homes. That alone is not enough. So we are calling upon other leaders to continue trying to help women harvest water. I also talk about agriculture. Mothers without food to feed our husbands and also our children is not easy. If we talk of the land, mashamba yale tuko naye, we can see our population are going to areas pahari wanaweza kupanda chakula na wapate, but we have other ASO lands, very fertile, but because there is no water, there are no people who are living there. As we were coming today from Kajiado, we found places in Kajiado, a lot of land has not been occupied, but where there is water, you can see people are there and they are growing food since the place is very fertile. Israel, most of it we know it is desert, but it was transformed, and in fact, it's top in the world for growing fruits and selling. We also know about Ukambani, it's just next to us. Those places where there is water, they grow fruits the same as those which are being grown in Israel. So when we are talking of water and life, they combine in agriculture and also in giving us health. When we talk of health, the other thing I want to touch is issues of health. Health, a healthy woman is a healthy nation. We want to thank His Excellency, the President, for maternity and universal health care. But that alone is not enough. As much as health has been devolved to counties, there are places, because we all couldn't have fitted in Kenyatta National Hospital, we have an O.K.A. National Hospital, which is treating, and most of our people in the whole of Mount Kenya are going to O.K.A. Unfortunately, we don't have a CT scan. So we are calling upon those who will come on board and continue leading this country to please try to build on such projects which have already been started, are doing well, but yet there are those things that are missing. I will talk of the 2/3 gender rule. This has almost been a monster everywhere you go. We talk of 2/3 gender rule. Today we were lucky that we managed to have almost the 2/3 gender rule speaking here today. We know very well that we are expecting nomination amendment for political parties this month, that is October. It's our hope that all political parties will incorporate 2/3 gender rule, and by doing so, the cost of that will address the problems the country has been having of nomination. That is top up. You know, when it comes to elections, there is the issue of nomination. We have a lot of problems that normally happens. Women, in the morning, you are in the list of nomination. In the evening, you are out of the list. So we are calling upon all the political parties, please try and do something around this time, that is in October, so that that clause can be incorporated in the 2/3 gender rule Finally, kukiwa na shida, the person who suffers most is the mother, is a woman with the children, the husband, and those who are even working out of where she lives. So we are calling upon our guests today, team up, because we remember during our late Nobel Prize winner, Wangari Maathai, she requested us to unite or suffer a bit. If we are not going to unite, we are not going to save this country. But when we are united, we as Mount Kenya, we are not ready to spoil our votes. But when you would come together, we are ready to put all our votes in one basket so that we don't remain in opposition. Because being out there in the opposition, we have experienced that as Mount Kenya for about 20 years. We were out there in the opposition. So we are coming together. We have teamed up and we are calling upon O.K.A. Please team up. We work together so that we'll get the next government to continue with the good work our head of state, Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta, has been doing. Asante sana kwa kunisikiliza. God bless you.
Let's give Purity a bigger clap, please, even from that corner. Thank you very much. Our next speaker, your chief guest, is none other but our elder, Dr. Michael Mugo. Michael.
God is good, and all the time. Before I speak, I have elders who have allowed me to talk. Please stand so that our guests can appreciate that you've given me permission to speak on your behalf. We have the national chair leadership of Keama, the elders who lead the Agikoyo, Dongo Gaidhuma, Director Culture Kegoshi, Secretary General Moiro, Chairman Nairobi, and the other elders, Kaguthi, Ambassador Karao. I cannot see the whole room, but thank you very much. We appreciate you. Asanteni sana. Wageni wetu, karibuni sana. Karibuni sana, sababu wakati nimeketi pale, wamama wameniambia kwamba wageni wamekuja tuwasikilize. Na kwa Wagikuyu tunasema, Mheshimiwa Kalonzo, muukino ya O.K.A na uhoro. The visitor has the news. So, we shall hear from you. My name is Michael Mugo. I'm the Vice Chairman, National Vice Chairman of Keama. We are working together with the Kikuyu Council of Elders, and we are also together with other leadership of elders in Mount Kenya. Asanteni sana kwa kuja. Sasa, mmetembea kwetu. Nimeambiwa, tasema kwa Kiswahili, ati mnatambua msichana wetu. Na msichana tuko na yeye. Na huyu msichana, her description is 8 million plus votes. Kwa hivyo ni mrembo kabisa. Lakini wale wa mama wameanza kuongea kwa low tones, wakasema, out of the 5 men, which one is the bride? So, tutabaki tukiuliza, the 5 men who came to visit us, which one of them? Because hatuwezi kupatia msichana wetu wanaume 5. Au wamama mmekubali msichana wetu aende na wanaume 5? Aende na wanaume 5? Kwa hivyo waende waongee, si tuwasengenye, alafu tutajua tutampatia msichana nani. Now, our guests, this girl has parents, elders. So once you have decided what you want to do, mtaleta dowry. Sisi kwetu wasichana tunauza mbuzi Senator Moi. Na wasichana hizo mbuzi mtaleta, sisi ni watu tunafanya kazi kwa nguvu. We are hard working people. Our values is hard work, and we are productive, we produce, and we do business. So what we request of you in form of dowry is that improve the space where we do our business. In 2007, post-election violence, although we know who were the main protagonists in Rift Valley, the first incidents on 27th at 2 in the afternoon was in Western. It was not hapa kwetu na Senator Gideon, ilikuwa huko. So we would want, when we do our business, because we are occupying here, we are seated 11 counties, but the Agikuyu are in 16, 12 plus another 4. The ones that were mentioned by Titus, then plus in Coast, we are also in Mombasa, we are in Kilifi, we are in Lamu, where we have a significant population. Kwa hivyo msichana wetu wako na sisters na brothers wako mbali na wanatusikiza. Kwa hivyo tungependa hizo business tunafanya, the space is such that the opportunities that are available are not suppressed, so that the Agikuyu and the Mount Kenya people, who are the majority, are marginalized in their own country. This marginalization comes in this way. If you go to our farms in Kiambu, hapa, almost in every other homestead, there is a worker. Not from Kiambu, not from Meru, most likely from Western, from Kisii, working here. We provide the opportunity. We also some of those who are here have been given work by our governors. Governor Ambora is here, I will tell you. They have been given work. But our people who are in Busia and other places, and I'm going to kwenyu. So tungependa, let us open up this space. As Mount Kenya, we have one currency. That currency is called unity. Kwa hivyo, Professor Joka, hatuna east, west, north, south. We are one region, Mount Kenya. Our currency is our unity. Na kwa hivyo, sisi tutaongea tuseme hapana, msikuje wanaume watano kila mmoja achukue kidogo kidogo. Kuja mkiwa mmeshikana, mtuambie ni huyu, tukuje kwenyu, chukua mama yetu, sisi tunakuja mpaka na watoto wote. In one house. Tusiende wadogo waende huko, wengine waende huko, wengine waende huko. The Agikuyu in certain and the Mount Kenya people are targeted. And we have seen, pahali tunatoka na Senator Gideon Moi, I'm from Laikipia. We have started observing a scenario where some people are doing mock or practicing post-election violence, targeting communities. Sisi tumesema, sisi ni watu wa amani. Lakini hatutakubali tishwa. Today one person is killed, the next day another one is killed, and then on the pretext of pasture. It is not pasture, we know. It is political incitement. There's a political ideology coming in. We've lived in peace, like Kipi and Baringo for many years, but now we're seeing a pattern. And this pattern has an owner. Mwenye hiyo pattern, tunamuona. Tunamwambia, sisi watu wa Laikipia tunajua mnafanya rehearsal hapo, tukigojea 2022, rehearsal ya vita haitafanywa Laikipia. Kwa hivyo nyinyi viongozi, mshikane na mkemee hayo maneno, manake wengine wenye wako na hiyo nia, wengine wanataka viti kama hizo mnauliza. So we are asking them, the people of Laikipia and these counties that neighbor Laikipia, let us live in the same peace we have lived in all our years. Nikimalizia, niseme kitu kimoja. Our democracy is maturing because today we have sat here to discuss what we intend to do next year. We have visitors, Wakenya wenzetu viongozi, Mheshimiwa Musalia. When you wanted to run for presidency in ODM, I am the one who held your first public rally in Nyahururu. Tukakupatia jina Masharia. And from there sijakuona tena. Kwa hivyo usikuje leo alafu upotee. We want consistency. Mheshimiwa Kalonzo, I vied for Laikipia 2007. Ukanipigia simu, Michael, can you join ODMK? Nikakwambia before I say ODMK, People will not let me say the K. Watasema, tutaki wewe. We talked, tukakubaliana, then we met in Tala, and we are here today after many years. Wacha tuendelee kuwa ndugu, pamoja, tuulize amani iendelee kwetu. Ya mwisho, we have been watching and listening to utterances of leaders during the BBI process. We are not saying we profiled anybody, but those who are against us, both at the Senate, when we were talking about the third revenue generation, that generation formula, we listened and we heard what you said, some of you, sisemi nyinyi, nasema wengine wenye mmeandamana na hawa. Mjue, Mheshimiwa Musalia, huko kwenyu the population is going up. Ukiona kichwa cha Mount Kenya kikinyolewa, chako tia maji. Hata nyinyi ndio next kuwa isolated in your big numbers. So we must say we need the equity. We need equity in our vote, equal representation. What was in BBI? Kama mmoja wenyu mtapata nafasi, Mungu awabariki mpate hicho kiti. Hayo maneno tuyarudie. We revisit. Ndio tusikue hapa Kiambu 2.65 million people wanaumia because we have fewer constituencies, we have low amount of money that is distributed from the national government. Yet our counties, ile pesa wanapata haitoshi. Ya mwisho kabisa, sisi our value of hard work, na nitasema hii, ina Wakikuyu custom. Na niseme kwa Wakikuyu, nafikiri Professor Joka ataongea kwa Kidharaka na mwingine kwa Kimeru. Sisi, when we talk about Peter Munga, au mtu mwingine tunaita tajiri, sisi we believe that poverty is caused by laziness. Kwa hivyo tukiona mtu akona mali tunasema ni hard work. We do not want any one of you to start propelling tokenism economy. Atuwe ni maskini, wacha nikupatie hii, ukae hivyo hivyo kidogo. Hapana, sisi tunataka kufanya kazi na mikono yetu, tupatie hiyo space, tufanye biashara, tupate pesa zetu, tuweke kwa mfuko, tukue Munga kesho. Na sisi tunasema kwa Kikuyu, Mohiki muthaka ahetokagira muromo wagia, that a beautiful wife, a beautiful lady kama huyu tuko naye Mount Kenya, anaweza pitia kwa mlango ya maskini. Kwa nini? Maskini hana mbuzi ya kuchukua huyo msichana. Kwa hivyo Wakikuyu wanasema work hard, msichana mrembo asipitie kwa mlango yako. Alafu tunasema udhuri wake togado nugaga, a rich man, hata Mungu akiitwa tycoons, tunasema haina harufu mbaya. Kwa nini? Because amongst our people, we believe that a rich man is preserving what he has for the community, for hiyo ni store yetu. Tukipata shida, anasaidia our young people. Last time mkumbuke, huyo msichana wetu tumesema mrembo, akona brothers and sisters, na wanahitaji space in employment. Wanahitaji incubation hubs za biashara, wanahitaji kupewa nafasi ambazo ziko na uwazi. Asanteni sana na Mungu awabariki. Wazee adhuri dhai dege. Asanteni sana.
Thank you, Michael. I think you have said it all for our behalf. Before I give the opportunity to the governor of Embu, who is the chair of the Council of Governors, to invite our chief guest, I want to recognize the presence of the directors of Mount Kenya Foundation. So if you are director of Mount Kenya Foundation, please do come here and then you wave at our people. Please, all directors of Mount Kenya Foundation who are here. We have Dr. Karao, is the one who started the community institutions as the executive director, and we have James Wachira, and then our chairman. We have other leaders, directors who are not able to come today. Thank you very much, gentlemen. So it's my turn now to invite His Excellency the Governor of Embu to take us through, but I'll come back to invite, for the vote of thanks, and then to tell you what is next after that. So, Your Excellency the Governor, please do take the mantle. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Asante sana, Vice Chairman Mount Kenya Foundation, Bwana Imbue. Good afternoon. Me, I'll be very, very brief. I think that's how I was chosen, so that I can fast track the most critical part. We came here because of all these party leaders, our chief guest. May I just begin recognizing O.K.A, the former Deputy Vice President, O.K.A, Kalonzo Musyoka, Wiper, the former Vice President, O.K.A Musalia Mudavadi, party leader too. Then we have the Senator Gilmore Kanu, Senator Honorable Tangura for the Kenya, party leader of, I wrote the name here, Bwana Jirongo, United Democratic Party. United Democratic Party. Then we have also all the senators present, including the newest young man called Goge. We thank the president for appointing you. Let's also appreciate our members of parliament who are all introduced, MCAs, of course our deputy governor, who is with us, Karugo, H.E. Karugo, the eloquent speakers who have spoken this afternoon, expressing wonderful things. Kiama Wazes, we have heard you. Ladies, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, mine will be very, very brief indeed. I've just come from Rwanda, where we had a meeting of East African local government, and we were given a chance to see the famous Kigali Genocide Memorial. Ladies and gentlemen, it was heartbreaking. But at the end of it all, in my speech thereafter, I got a standing ovation from the congregations when I thanked the president of Rwanda, who has completely transformed Rwanda very much. And he has brought total peace. When I was there, I thought of Kenya. And that's why when I was invited by Mount Kenya to play this role I'm playing, I said I'll even leave the meeting earlier. The meeting is ending tomorrow because I know the importance of this meeting, Chairman. I know the importance of this meeting. I've only 2 points. One, the Mandela magic or Mandela moment. When he brought South Africa into the democratic countries of the world, I was among the first Kenyans to visit South Africa. And I can assure you, and a chance also to meet that great leader, he only had one term, and he left a legacy of a lifetime. It's something to think about. And as well as what we have seen in Rwanda. Finally, the unity. Some speakers have touched on it. Me, I'm only seeing the picture. And I remember, H.E. Kalonzo Musyoka, you are the one who came to Runyenjes to represent the Rainbow Coalition. I remember that time, 2002, I will never forget, when the Kenyans were the most optimistic people in the world after that period, after the Rainbow Coalition won. Here, just as some of the speakers have said before me, we must bring those wonderful memories back. Oh yes. Kenyans are looking forward to have a united Kenya with all the leaders together championing the peace and development of Kenya. Having said that, may I now use the formatting of our chief guests, the way they would want me to invite them. we have agreed on this. They said the first speaker will be Senator Agnes Kaundu Mudhama. Karibu sana. Makofi.
Thank you, Your Excellency, the Governor. Your Excellencies, the O.K.A principles, the Mount Kenya group led by Mr. Munga, governors around and senators, MPs, MCAs, and ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. Mine is very short and brief, and I think the reason why I was given this opportunity is because the O.K.A principles believe in 50 threshold parity. Instead of the 2/3 gender, there will be 50. Are we having women in the house? Do we have women in the house? O.K.A believes in 50, not 2/3 gender parity. And I just want to speak a few things and say that Psalms 133, 1 to the end says, where people live or dwell in unity, there God bestows his blessings. And I want to echo the words of Mr. Munga. He said, the people are talking of people being poor. I want to say Proverbs 18:21 says the power of death and life is in your tongue. So when we are calling ourselves poor as Kenyans, we are truly going to be poor because that is the word of God and it will come to pass. So let us stop calling ourselves poor because we are not poor. God has blessed this country very much. Okay? And another thing I want to say is that Mount Kenya people, from wherever you are, I want to assure you, President Uhuru Kenyatta is still the president of this nation until the next president is sworn in. So no fear. Let you not be threatened by anyone. Nobody will chase you from wherever you are. Kenya belongs to all of us. Wherever you are a Kenyan, you have a right. And remember, President Uhuru Kenyatta is still the president of this country until the next president is sworn in. Okay? And so we have peace in this country. That is just a by the way. We should not fear. We should not have fear. We should not be threatened by anyone. Wherever we are, our businesses will be safe, our businesses will be secure, will be safe and will be secure wherever we are. And I'm speaking also as a prophet in this country. I pray, and as I talk, I am prophesying. 07, I remember very well, I used to go to the church every morning and lie down and cry to God. Because God had revealed to me what will happen to this country. And if it were not for prayers, if it were not for His Excellency Kalonzo Musyoka, I don't know where this country would be. And I also want to mention on a light note, if there are debts to be paid, that debt should be paid to the O.K.A principles and not anybody else. Because the debt of 2007 is earlier than these dates we are talking about now. So let the first debts be paid first. Amen? Let me not take a lot of time because the O.K.A principles has given me this opportunity. And I am very grateful to you to have given me this opportunity. And I know, seated with us among the five, we will have the president of this country, the next president of this country. And so I'm saying, let us unite and let us have no fear and let us elect a person who will lead this country and lead it very well. Among the O.K.A principles,
They are the only people who can stand and point on corruption, and corruption will not fight back to them, because corruption fights back. And there are people who can never fight corruption in this country. Even if they say they'll fight, they can't, because already they are corrupt, and corruption can fight back on them. Thank you very much, and may God bless you as we stand together in unity and in oneness. Thank you very much.
More clapping tafadhali for the senator. And at this point, this one we must clap as one of the principals comes to the podium. And this is no other than H.E. Kalonzo Musyoka. Wiper Party. Makofi. There we go. Karibu.
Just a minute.
Thank you. Elder Michael spoke of a beautiful Keritu, which is 8 million votes plus. And I'm reminded of a song we used to sing when we were young about that beautiful girl called Wairimu. I don't know whether the dancing teams are around still, because it's very exciting. It used to go like this. Ewairimu wa maitu tigana na kugal gakwendia kindu. Ewamboi tiganana Ewairimo Gakwendia ki Well, you see, Chairman Peter Munga and the directors, my brothers, fellow Kenyans, before I say a few things, and we agreed among ourselves that I'll go first, because in all practical aspects, I'm actually a part of the mountain. I'm only on the other side. If you go to Sekuru, you realize what I'm talking about. I'm just on the other side of the mountain, actually a great beneficiary of all the rivers that flow to Sekuru, Mutonga River, and all these rivers. But I thought before I proceed, I need to recognize some of the other leaders, national leaders actually, who have not been recognized because they may not hold elected positions in parliament. But these are party leaders, and I want, on behalf of Wiper Democratic Movement, because I think my brothers will do the same, to actually ask one of the deputy leaders to come and just be here with me for a minute. And our national chair, Ambassador Ali Makwere, former deputy speaker Farah Maalim, is a deputy leader. The other one is Bishakila Abdallah. She was not able to make the lunch. But you can see how national Wiper Democratic Movement is. Simutupigie makofi jamani. So I think the other one on that side, and the other deputy leaders were in the House. The deputy chair is Senator Mutula Jr., and the other deputy chair is Victor Swanya, all the way from Nyamira, is an advocate. And the other deputy leader is Ann Kanyi from Nyeri. And that is the leadership team right here. But the others also, so that they do not actually deal with me after this. We have Winnie Kaburu, all the way from Meru, NEC member. We have Justus Wambutura, also from Meru, a very long-serving member of the party. And in fact, these things we are dealing, we talk about power outages and KPLC. If you need expert opinion, Wambutura is always available. Muriuki Ntwiga from Embu, young man, very promising. I don't know whether he's here yet. Rehab Wangui Ndambuki, she's a NEC member. Bishop Johnson Gichuki Muturi, Laikipia, is in the house. Just shout wherever you are, thank you. And then Bishop John Paul Thiongo, actually the one who prayed for us, and he lost his dear wife just the other day. Where's Bishop Thiongo? We still empathize with you, dear brother. And then we have Samson Kinyanjui from Kiambu. He's also there. And then Bernard Chege Muranga. Where's Bernard? I saw him. Yeah, you're there. Thank you. And then we have Naftali Kimuri from Nyeri. Naftali. Peris Nyakwera Kabue from Nyeri. Lucio Ambui Karanu from Kiambu. John Dungu Nyandarua. And the others, I think we've been able to point out. I thought for a moment that Deputy Governor Nyeri was Wiper. We have been in very constant communication with that wonderful lady. Ladies and gentlemen, I think my friends, you can now sit. If we had time, these are people with tremendous, tremendous experience in matters national and the need to maintain national unity, cohesion, stability. Ladies and gentlemen, as I said, I'll be the first to go to invite my other friends. And I want to tell you that the story given by Peter Munga is a true story. And I'm so happy, Chairman, that you are bold enough to have shared it. Because, yes, you came to our house in 2007, but that was following the story of ODM Kenya and the story of oranges. And we were faced with an election like we now have one, which is imminent. And those friends representing the mountain region, forgetting I was one of them, came to try to plead with me. And we reasoned, like Canon Karanja said, come, let us reason together, quoting the Bible. We reasoned, and they left early in the morning. The result is what he has talked about. Our country blew up, and somebody somewhere to stand in the gap. We stood in the gap, I believe myself, because it was our democratic right to run for any elective office. Had we not done it, this country would probably be worse than Somalia. But we thank God, He's a God of all flesh, and Kenyans stood together. Where everybody expected that the country was going to fall apart, we did pick ourselves together. But the story was painful. And I want to agree with Prophetess Madam Agnes, Senator Agnes Kavindu, that will never happen again. And I'll tell you the reasons. One of the legacy projects of President Kibaki was Constitution 2010. We need to give Mzee Kibaki a loud clap, because without him, we are assembled today because of the reality of that very fundamental historic document, Constitution 2010, which guarantees the rights and freedoms of all Kenyans. The right to establishment, the right to own property, the right to enjoy the same, and the right to be able to settle in any part of the country and call it your home. My friend, Brother Titus Zibui, talked about the Gema nation. You have another nation out there. These are Kenyans abroad, Kenyans in the diaspora, who every year, if you were to talk to the central bank governor, he will tell you every year so much money. And I hope our friends actually out on the outer room, somebody, I think they need a prefect, because either they're having some tea or some nice conversation, because I consider this important. If they can be part of our audience, it will be wonderful. You know, we invited so many of us, we came, we overflew, we are out there, we're enjoying your goodies. Thank you for this generosity. Typical generosity of our brothers from the mountain. Now they are together with us. I wanted to say the Kenyans in the diaspora are an important component. And under the Constitution, they are supposed to participate in election 2022. So as we speak to you from this historic hotel, the Safari Park Hotel, we're also talking to Kenyans in the diaspora. And I know many of them are from the mountain region. The other day I flew from Dubai via Qatar. I was received by an excited group of Kenyans. In fact, Qatar Airways and the other Emirates Airlines, between them, employ thousands and thousands of Kenyans. And they will be voting this time. So allow us through connectivity, the internet, to talk to Kenyans wherever they are. So Peter Munga, your audience is bigger than you could imagine. Therefore, what are we trying to say as O.K.A? Our vision is simple. An all-inclusive nation where nobody is left behind. Waithera, I guarantee you, where you will never be left behind on account of disability. Malito Gaon Kirote from Ma. Muga. Natoana. You know, the other day I got into a lot of trouble. I said that I'm a Mutharaka or a Mumeru, and friends of Makueni took me on. We always suspected. Of course I'm not. My mother and my late father, they're all known. But that's what I mean by the fact that I'm a part of the mountain. I went to primary school with Arakas, with Merus. In fact, the most Mutharaka Meru I met was Mtamakembo. The trouble with Mtamakembo is he had also jingas with him. So ukiangalia miguu yangu niko namna hii wakati mwingine. So we are one people. And as we speak to the mountain, we are speaking to the nation. And I declare myself a Kenyan. I'm Kamba by birth, but a Kenyan, a real Kenyan at heart. And I'm talking to my friends. If I go out, I went to Somalia, and I think if Ambassador Faye will be here, he will confirm to you. When we are trying to put the Somali nation together in Baghdadi, the main, the guys, I mean the people who are at loggerheads with each other, were the main community. Also Somalis speak Kisomali. They are all Muslim. But because they belong to different sub-clans, they can't live together. I declared myself a member of the Digli Mirifli community. Because Awiyas and the Darots were the majority. It's even a 0.5. My friends, I'm talking to you as one with experience in bringing the region together. A believer in regional integration. And I know what the people of the mountain want is to be given opportunity. I don't know whether we realize as Kenyans that not all are great friends. There's great regional and international competition. Right now, thanks to the appointment by President Uhuru Kenyatta, I'm trying to put together the people of South Sudan. I've tried to do the best way I can. From the days of the comprehensive peace agreement, spearheaded by Mzee Moi, may God rest his peace, his soul in peace, Mzee Kibaki, all of them, President Uhuru told me, these are your people, help them. And the same words were reported, actually repeated to me by President Moi before he slept. Do you know that you, Titus Ibui, when I last checked, you are the chairperson of LAPSET. That corridor, and I was there with Mzee Kibaki when we launched the Lamu Port Initiative. And the late Meles Zenawi, Prime Minister of Ethiopia, was there. President Salva Kiir of South Sudan was there. And of course, President Mwai Kibaki. And all of us. That project is a life-changing matter in terms of regional integration and great benefits to the people of Kenya and particularly the mountain people. Because you are the entrepreneurs. There are over 10,000 Kenyans in South Sudan as we speak. And when things went wrong in 2013 and 2016, they were all kind of thrown out of South Sudan. Our truck drivers We'll ply the route between Mombasa through Nimule and on to Juba. Most of them have a lot of relationship with the people of the mountain. Hard-working Kenyans. Therefore, instead of looking down on the mountain, we should be able to say we should all be like Peter Munga. And you know me, I was unhappy that I'm being invited by Tycoon. And even the 411, it says, O.K.A. chiefs are being received by Tycoons. Now you are happy. We must clap and thank God for Peter Munga and people like James Mwangi. Because these are the wealth generators. And you are trying to imbue the same sense of responsibility to the young ones. Konza City is a Vision 2030 project by Mzee Kibaki. And by the way, please, when you are giving credit to Mzee Kibaki, will you spare me just at 20%? Because you all know how closely I worked with Mzee Kibaki. I'll tell you some truth, which I'm saying for the first time publicly. It was me who convinced Mzee Kibaki to appoint President Uhuru Kenyatta the Deputy Prime Minister. Because Mzee Kibaki was, as a nationalist, he told me, Vice President, you want me to appoint another Kikuyu? Because remember the Kofi Annan talks when Raila appointed Mudavadi? And then I was in the PNU alliance with Kibaki, and we needed a strong hand. I told him, yes. Then Uhuru became Deputy Prime Minister and Minister for Trade. Eventually, Minister for Finance. Deputy Prime Minister and Minister for Finance. From whence he grew all the strength to become the president. I think he also owes me one, on a light note. But we are not here, Senator Agnes, to talk about paying political debts. I don't believe in that. I believe in working hard. Be nationalist. Whatever God has placed in your hands at any given time, do it well for the benefit of this nation. And so, we want to grow the economy of this country. The youths in Mount Kenya, just like youths elsewhere than Kirotes, will find a lot of hope in Konza City. Do you know, we are just about to develop the equivalent of MITC, what is it? MIT. Yeah, MIT in the US, which was like the incubation center for growth of American industry. Thanks to the fact that President Kibaki and I must claim a little credit, through the Presidential Economic Advisory Team, brought in a Korean. No wonder we even talk about nuclear science. And in Konza very shortly, you will have an equivalent of MIT, because the Koreans have just started going to break ground for the equivalent of MIT. Don't say it is in Ukambani. It is a project of all Kenyans. And Mount Kenya youth, as hardworking as they are, the Vision 2030, they will benefit. We have to grow this economy in real terms. Ladies and gentlemen, I can talk on and on, because we are not here to please our friends from Mount Kenya. They are Kenyans. But you know, charity must begin at home. I have a vision. Did you know that my community actually gave the name, the Kenyan name, through Mount Kenya? Kenya. Do you know that Kirinyaga and Kenya is a Kamba name? Clap for me. That's what it is, Kenya. Kirinyaga. Do you know I have relatives in Kirinyaga as we speak to you? Do you know the people like Philip Ndegwa, the former governor, late governor of Central Bank, yeah, and his brother Mutuku Ndegwa. Kirinyaga. 30% of people, residents of Kirinyaga, are actually from Kitui, Senator Ambua's place. So we are one and the same people. And so when young man Samaj, a young talented Kenyan, sang the Mudhonua song, I'll be going everywhere in the mountain, we'll be talking about Mudhonua, in real terms. Therefore, I'm here to present to you as one of you in every respect, and urge you to walk this journey of O.K.A. We understand, Titus, and I must conclude, your clarion call for unity of purpose. I don't believe in fear. I believe in the future of this nation. And whichever leader comes and tries to to sow discord and something. Kenyans have come of age. I just want to urge that they come out now. The 70% youth in Kirote, take out your vote. Let Kenyans come out now in the time frame given. Take out your vote, register as voters, and believe in your nation. If people must come and bribe you, because in O.K.A, we believe really in zero tolerance to corruption. Give us that opportunity. Give us that opportunity. And you will be amazed if we will not draw a red line and say you cross it at your own peril. We are a very united team. And we also say, Chairman, O.K.A is open. We do not have the monopoly of ideas. But we think that united, this nation will stand together. That's why you saw us today having tea with our sister, Mother Karua. That's why you saw us going to see our brother, Moses Kuria, in hospital. And we wish him quick recovery. That's why we are saying we are moving. We are moving with such speed, you will not believe it, to unify this nation. But you're also asking to believe in our program. Believe that one of the founding principles, our mission statement, is inclusivity, where nobody is left behind. And we also say that we are a nation under the rule of law. Sometimes you have seen some serious discrepancies when it comes to the application of the rule of law. Some of us are senior counsel. My brother O.K.A is a senior advocate. We are officers of the High Court. We would want to see a nation that works very, very closely, the three arms of government, so that we can pull the citizens together. And for me, Mount Kenya, my final comment, agriculture. I love agriculture. In fact, I call that agriculture, because my brothers who talk to the other subject, is the green gold. I also believe in working as hard as the people of the mountain, the other side of the mountain. I work very hard from the lower side. And therefore, 24-hour economy. You heard me talk about that in 2007 when you came. I told you, we need to work. A post-COVID Kenya must really roll up its sleeves and work and create employment opportunities for our people. I believe out of the 47 counties, and you are 11 of them in the mountain region, you should not be counting 1 or 2 factories. We must industrialize at that level. And therefore, we talk about uchumi marudufu. Riu, uchumi marudufu. Tufanye kazi kwa bidii. Tuokoe nchi yetu. We are thankful to God that this COVID thing is going away. I wish it goes and goes forever, 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 so that Kenyans can realize their full potential. So, ladies and gentlemen, I don't want to go on. We are not here to present our memorandum, our manifesto. We'll be doing that. Brother Gideon had a fantastic delegates conference of KANU. Na zote tukatingiza kidole. I launched my campaign secretariat the other day. I'm yet to call my delegates conference. And I know that Musalia and O.K.A and Cyrus is like a hurricane. I really admire Cyrus Jirongo's energy. A real hurricane guy, impatient to get his country together. This is a team we are presenting to you today. And I want to ask members, if there are some members of the SKM Command Center, to please stand. The Command Center team. Yeah, that is Joey. I don't know whether it's from Homa Bay or from Kisumu. That is Rodney Okoth. Yeah, he's actually leading that little team. And you have not heard of Mkamba amongst them. This is how serious we are. If we are going to put this country together, we have to demonstrate, live it. So that instead of the 2,000 gender rule, Madam Purity, please hear me. Some of us believe in 50-50 government. 50% women and 50% men. Governor Ambora has just been praising President Kagame because Kagame's government is really dominated by the other sex. Therefore, we must have this equality of consideration. And so this is it. I believe that is the nation we are all trying to build. I must thank you for listening to me. we'll have time to come back and talk. We'll go to the villages and see your macadamia. Yes, macadamia, avocados. But please don't put down all the plants, the coffee and the tea. I celebrate former Governor Peter Munya, doing tremendous work in trying to revive the coffee and the tea sector, including KPSU. Of course, you are working with President Uhuru Kenyatta. We recognize that as a kingpin. Sometimes I wonder, people of the mountain, if you are to drive from here to Angige Market, drive them even Kiambaa and wherever, surely, people of Mount Kenya, wouldn't you even have the goodness to thank your leader for doing tremendous work? I always give the example of the expressway from Mulolongo to Wayaki Way, the example of how you can work 24 hours. Because those people are working. Let us also check what it is we can borrow even from the Orient people and work as hard as we can. 24-hour economy, uchumi marudufu. But don't pull down Peter. I think that the elders, Michael, do not know how to hand over the coffee plantations to the young ones. Now you are pulling down everything and putting real estate. Tutakula nini? To fikiri on that, and we balance so we can understand the poor prices of these commodities. Some of us are international leaders, and we will make sure we get the markets for our crops. Thank you. Gideon, tukaribishe ndugu Gideon. We must learn to relax. Today Gideon came wearing a tie. And he told me, see, I have a tie. Congratulations. I said, I cannot tie. Welcome. Ndugu, and once again, congratulations.
Umesoma uongozi toka kwa Baba Moi. Iongoze chama cha KANU. Iongoze iende mbele. Tunakuamini Gideon Moi. Sisi hatufichi wa Kenya tumekubali. Tunakutaka uwe rais.
Thank you. Asanteni. My co-principals who are here today, our host, Mr. Munga, who's the chair of the foundation, Mount Kenya, the deputy chair, Titus, my colleague senators who are here, members of parliament, governors, and all distinguished guests who have gathered here today. Today, I will be extremely brief. Why? Because we were given a debriefing by none other than Titus, who told us, do not come here and tell us or expound your economic models. So that we know. Talk to us about unity. So I told him, if it's about unity, tutamalize mkutano in half an hour. But just before I jump onto that topic of unity, let me first recognize members of Chama Chetu cha KANU who have come here. I'll just ask you to stand, please, led by Secretary General Nick Salat, ambaye ni mtu ya ndani. George Wainaina, who is our Executive Director, Sitoyo from Narok, Kajiado, our NEC member, Betty Adere from Kisumu. And she's the chair of our women wing, Angela Gitahi Lovely lady is there, another from Nyeri, our KYC. And of course, we've got members of parliament who are here and many, many others. So please, thank you very much all for coming for this important meeting. I do not want to touch on the economy. I think others will come behind me or after me will touch on it, except to say that we fully understand as O.K.A the importance of having a conducive environment for people to do their business. That we understand. We understand, and you'll hear some others talk about it, that we need a consistent tax policy. And you'll be very surprised to know that in Kenya today we do not have a tax policy. But we need a predictable tax policy. You don't want tax policies which come in like what now has happened in the fuel prices. You'll hear about that. You'll hear about agriculture. You'll hear about how we're thinking about GMR. And you'll hear so many other facets of the economy which will be talked about. But I think what you are interested in is exactly what we are interested in. That it does not matter which economic model we present to you. It does not matter. We can give you the most and the best economic model here. But let me assure you, it will be pointless if we are not in power to carry out, it will not, those policies. And you cannot wish it, that it will happen. Things do not just happen. It is made to happen. And every one of you who is here today must take responsibility for that. We've decided to take ours. We will do what has to be done. You too must take your responsibility. Sitting here, I'm sure I'm preaching to the converted. I'm not here to persuade you that O.K.A is the best movement to support, or those who are not supporting you nowhere are the best. No. You know why you're sitting here, why you made up and sacrificed your time to be here. And this journey which we want to go has to be a two-way journey. We do our part, you do yours. As KANU, where I'm the chair, back in the day, in the 63, and before that, in the 50s, a Herculean task was performed. And that task was lowering the Union Jack and raising the Kenyan flag. Sacrifices were made. The majority of those who made those sacrifices came from the mountain. Blood, suffering was shed. It happened. My plea to you, what your forefathers did, what our forefathers did, let us not waste it away. Let us not do that. And I can assure you, in a blink of an eyelid, if we are not careful, this country can go down that slope where you heard the governor talking about what happened in Rwanda. Yet, we have the means and the resources and the intellect and the persuasive powers to talk to our people and tell them this is not the route to go, but this. Somebody mentioned today when we had a meeting that if you look at the menu today which has been offered, it's not a menu about this versus that. If you look at O.K.A, that is a rich menu which is there. And by the way, we are not saying that we are excluding anyone from the march that we've set out. All are welcome. All, and I mean it and we mean it, all are welcome. Adui tunajua. All are welcome. At the end of the day, the Kenyans will make their choices. For you, what I said during the inauguration, not inauguration, sorry, I'm running ahead of myself there. When I accepted the nomination from our party, KANU, I said this: our ideology, which is the same as O.K.A, our ideology is simple. You should have control of your life and your livelihood with minimal interference from government. Our obligation as a government government obligation is to look after the poor and marginalized and remove the burdens that prevent a majority from prospering. Period. That is the job of government. Get off the back of the people, let them continue on doing their work as they can, and you know your role in what you have to do. And that is what O.K.A stands for. So, as I conclude, Titus, you've said your part. Michael, I think, talked because we're neighbors in Laikipia. And he said that you have one girl, uko na msichana, ambao hao wanaume waine ambao watano hao ndio wanamtaka. And you said you cannot give to sisi watano, si ndio? Unajua, kwa hao watano mimi ni kitinda mimba. I'm the one who's the most energized and the youngest. So unaniwachia mimi nitangulie, hao wengine watajisort wenyewe. And as I go and sit down, I would like to ask you all, unajua, ninajua adui yenu. Najua nikishika kichwa utavumilia mateke. God bless you all.
All right. Makofi ingine kwa KANU moto. Oh yes. Mimi ni dume kabisa. Alinisimamia huko Senate mara 2 peke yake. Asante sana Gideon, asante. Kwa sasa let's have another very energetic party leader, Cyrus Jirongo. Makofi kwake.
Thank you. Chairman Munga, Bwana Imbui, the leaders who are gathered here together, particularly from Parliament, our friends from the mountain region. First of all, let me take this opportunity to thank all of you, particularly those who organized this day and have given us the opportunity to come and talk to you. We've gone through very many elections in this country. And when I was coming here, I asked myself, what is the difference this time that there is so much concern from the leadership and the business community from Mount Kenya region that they have decided they should meet those they think might produce the next leader in this country. And I thought through it. It became very clear to me. Because where I come from, we really don't understand tribalism. We voted for Kibaki, you know it. We voted for the late Kenneth Matiba. Ask Raila, we have voted for him very many times. And generally, it has come to a point whereby the rest of the country thinks these people called Luyas are just a voting machine. And we have decided this time around that we want, first of all, to work together as a community, just the way you are thinking about the Mount Kenya community. And that's why we are 3 of us here. And we will offer, not all of us, but one of us, to be part of the leadership of this country. Because we know that every number counts at this critical moment. Wambora, I met him long time ago when I was a young man. Wambora was personal assistant to the late Hezekiah Nelson Oyugi. And the former PC who is seated there will tell you quite a bit on the history of this country, Kaguthi. That it started like something small in the village, a family fighting. In 2008, it became the entire Rift Valley and spread up to the Coast Province, Nyanza, and everywhere else. We are here, if I have to be blunt, because there are deep-seated fears, particularly amongst Kenyans today. In the Rift Valley, when you have had clashes, it has been toeni au ngoeni, walikuwa wanaita nini, kwekwe, communities that don't belong or should not belong to the Rift Valley. This has been changed. They have now created another tribe in Kenya called the rich and the poor, using exactly the same strategy. That I must identify an enemy and I must label that enemy and use it for my own benefit. Na mimi ningependa kuwauliza nyinyi watu wa Mount Kenya. Hatuwezi kuchukulia yale yanafanyika katika taifa letu kwa mzaha. Na hatuwezi kusema tuko na muda, kwa sababu vijana wetu wamepakwa uchafu katika vichwa vyao. Na yale mambo yote mnazungumzia ya uchumi hapa haina maana kama hatutakuwa na Kenya kesho. If we don't have our country tomorrow, all you are discussing here is a waste of time. Even if we talk on how we look at our natural resources, invest capital in it, create employment for our youth, it will not happen unless we have a peaceful Kenya. You all must resist the tribalism that has been used before to create chaos in this country, to be apt to a point where you now have identified another tribe called the House and created another one, the have-nots, just to perpetuate the same crimes you have perpetuated all through. Right from the Rift Valley, now you've brought it to the national level. And this, we cannot continue to pretend. We've got to face it now. We've got to engage the youth now, and we need to talk to them now, remove what has been put in their heads. Lazima tuitoe. We are not here because Mount Kenya as a tribe wants to know what will be on the table. A majority of you have it on the table. There are areas in this republic where people don't eat. So you are here because you are wondering, after next year's election, will I sit in my sitting room? Will I have my meal? And a key lies with all of us. First of all, let us not have a preferred leader. All these people are capable. When the Mount Kenya look like they have a preferred leader, you create a lot of dissent in the hearts of my brothers here. Because Kalonzo has spoken. He has been key when you needed him. I have told you as a community, sometimes we think we are a voting machine. We voted for everybody. Why we are here is the fear of Kenya burning tomorrow. And this, we have to work on it. We have no other Kenya. We only have one Kenya. We have no other home. The only home we have is called this Kenya. Leo ukienda katika Mlima Kenya, kabila iko huko haielewi jambo lingine, kwa sababu wameambiwa huyu yako naye atanyang'anywa, watapewa. And we have seen such a leadership. In the neighborhood, there was a dictator who came in and said foreigners must go away. And you know, every Ugandan clapped at that time. They forced out the Asian community. They forced out all the investors. And it did not take long before that country melted to zero. So you understand the dangers that we are facing today. We need to educate our people. And let me tell you, a hungry person to be manipulated is very easy. The performance of our economy has caused our young people to be manipulated very easily. We do not have a lot of time for prolonged discourse. We have time to go to the ground, educate our young men and women, let them understand we do not have another country. And that is only possible if we remove selfishness out of this leadership. Some of them amongst us. We must agree we have to go forward as a united front for the sake of this country. Now, if you refuse to play your role because it must be you, you are just as an enemy as the enemy you are discussing here, because you are not offering a solution. You must agree to play whatever role you will be given as a leader for the sake of the unity of our country. Munga will not provide employment tomorrow if we have chaos in this country. neither will Mwangi carry Kenyans to DRC for them to look at business opportunities if there are chaos in this country tomorrow. You are here because you are scared something wrong is happening. Way forward. Let us go to the ground. You people must never have a preferred candidate. Let all of us work as a team. And at the right time, Kenyans will see who is this so qualified to take us through this very risky period. I want to urge all of you, and the problem is coming from the mountain. Don't have preferred candidates. I have told you, as a community, we have demonstrated many times that we can vote for any Kenyan. What do you expect us to feel as a community if you come fronting somebody else who maybe has just voted for you once, not because he wanted to vote for you, but circumstances forced him to vote for you? And us who voted for you because we believed in you, we are treated like these ones are cheap. After all, they are divided. They'll just come and vote for us. Musiwe na wale mnapendelea. Na sisi tuko tayari kufanya kazi pamoja. Na wale ambao wako nje na wale ambao wamekaa hapa. This team is a demonstration of ability to work together. Sisi tuko hapa team. Ile wengine mlikuwa naye hata kubwa zaidi, ilikuwa mtu mmoja. Timu ilikuwa nani? So nani anapenda umoja? Ni hawa au ni wengine? Kwa hivyo nawaomba muwe wa kweli kwa roho zenu. Msichukue kiza kimoja mkifanye kionekane ndio cha maana zaidi. Ati tulishikana mikono. Hapana. Sisi tuliwapigia pila kushikana mkono. The Luyas were a majority in voting in Kibaki. More than Central Province. We did not have a handshake. We are willing Raila to be our president tomorrow if the program is fair. You must be willing Musalia or Kalonzo or Gideon to be a president tomorrow, because all of them are being treated equally and fairly. Musikuja na preferred candidate, mutaharibu. Mutaharibu kabisa. And that's all I came to tell you. Mungu awabariki. All right. Na sasa, asante United Congress Party, wewe unaongea mambo ya unity. Mwisho kabisa, we are here to listen to all of you, to listen to all the leaders, alafu tutaamua. We have not made a decision as yet. Kwa hivyo usiwe na wasiwasi. Kwa sasa, let's hear the party leader of Ford Kenya, none other than the famous Senator Wetangula Weta. Mara moja.
Hamjambo wote. Hamjambo tena. God is good and all the time. My good friend Peter Munga and the foundation you lead, Titus, and all the hosts of today. My colleagues from O.K.A, our members of parliament, and the many leaders here assembled, including a strong team from the mountain, We are here to engage. And to engage, we must free ourselves, think openly, freely. Barack Obama said, "You cannot shake hands with a clenched fist. We'll shake hands with open arms." And we are happy that you invited us. You invited us to talk to us and us to talk to you. And this kind of engagement is critically important for a public discourse and conversation in this country. I want to tell you, our Mount Kenya brothers and sisters, don't live in fear, don't fear to live, because this is your country. And this country belongs to all of us. When Bwana Waigwa was talking, he mentioned about people from Mount Kenya who are out there in the Kenyan diaspora. Bwana Waigwa, in Trans Nzoia, the ruling party is Ford Kenya, led by yours truly. And among the CEC members, we have a young girl from Kiambu as a minister in Trans Nzoia. In embracing other Kenyans and actualizing the constitution, that devolution did not balkanize our country, but enhanced diversity and unity. And we'll continue doing that. In 2007, 2008, when this country was on fire, when people were running helter-skelter, the county I represent of Bungoma became a refuge for the people from Mount Kenya. They moved in, settled in 2 months. We had more than 10,000 Mount Kenya origin residents moving into Bungoma. They acquired property, they invested, they live very happily with us. And you Mount Kenya brothers and sisters are very lucky. You have produced 3 presidents for our great republic. And I'm very happy, Bwana Munga and your team, that this time round, you've come to a very positive realization that this country has many communities, many regions, and is desirable to rotate and share opportunities of leadership. What you are telling us, and we agree with you, is if it comes your way, what do you do with it? What do you do for us? What ring fencing will you give to our country? Not to any individual, because I believe that an opportunity available to a Mount Kenya citizen in this country must be equally available to an El Molo in Loyangalani, must be equally available to somebody from Kwale, from Iteso, from everywhere. That is the Kenya we want. Today, when you go to our homes, most of our children don't speak what we commonly call mother tongue. They have just one language, English or Swahili, and they're just Kenyans. Sheng is a corruption of one of the two. We want to build a country where opportunities are available to everybody, regardless of your background. I just came from US yesterday, and I met a gentleman from Meru in a Kenyan convocation in Los Angeles. And he showed me a deep wound and crack on his head. And he told me, I was hit on the streets of Nairobi when we were fighting for the Constitution. I was locked up. I fled the country. I will not come back. I told him, please, if you want to come back, Kenya is different. Today, we are fighting with ideas, not with the stones, not with the sticks, and God forbid, not with guns. The Kenya we want is the Kenya we must create. There are no angels that will descend on our country to create our country. It is us. Like Kennedy said, don't ask what your country is doing for you. Ask yourself, what are you doing for your country? And we look at Mr. Munga here. He created Equity Bank from a microfinance to the largest bank in this country and in this region. We must salute him. And Julius Nyerere once said, these Chinese, they're 1 billion. They produce enough food, feed themselves, and give us some as aid. Surely they must have something for us to learn from them. So when you look at Mr. Munga, surely there must be something we can learn from him. And that he has given us his quality time to sit here and talk about our country is something worth to behold. And we as O.K.A come to you, the Mount Kenya brothers and sisters, to tell you that we believe in equity, we believe in freedom, we believe in hard work, and we believe in just rewards for hard work. You have the right people with you. Don't worry about us coming in a big number. In fact, in social life, there's security in numbers. So when you see 4 or 5 of us, don't worry. At some point, there will be the first among equals. And the first among equals will not be exalted because he's the first. He will be a person of humility, acceptability, and above all, the vision and the mission to change this country. We have walked a journey. I have also a story to tell about my relationship with Mzee Kibaki. I'm sure you from Mount Kenya know that in 2007, without me and Mother Karua, who are with Mzee Kibaki, hii kiti ingeenda. Munajua, mzee alikuwa amezingirwa. Mimi na msichana wenu Mother Karua tulisimama kidete. Mzee Kibaki akanituma nikaenda Ghana. Nikaleta chairman wa AU John Kufuor, then the president. Nikarudi, akanituma nikaenda nikaleta Kofi Annan. Nikarudi, wakati mambo ilikuwa imeshindikana kabisa, akaniambia kimbia Tanzania ulete Jakaya Kikwete. Nikaenda. So I also have my own paragraphs and chapters in the history of this country. That when the chips were down, I stood up to be counted. I didn't exalt myself thereafter. I remained what I am. And I do believe in all sincerity that Gideon Moi or Kalonzo or Mudavadi or myself or whoever in our team will be able to be given the mantle to carry. The rest will say it is part of the team. Because, you know, when you go to play football, and me ni mutu ya Arsenali, if you only reward the person who scores, then the goalkeeper will never get a reward. Because the goalkeeper will never have an opportunity to score, but he is guarding the ngome uko nyuma. So everybody is important. There's a saying in my community that your upper lip is a very small portion of your body. But cut it off and stand before a mirror and see how bad you look. So every cog in the wheel counts. And Mount Kenya, here we are with open arms, telling you that come we engage. And as we engage, we want to give you an assurance that never again shall a Kenyan rise against a Kenyan because of politics. You know, the newspaper said many times about Mount Kenya that you are restless, that you are anxious, that you are frightened, that you are fearful. We stand here to tell you, Munga and team, fear no more. You are in safe hands. And this team, I can tell you, my brothers and sisters from Mount Kenya, we are tested, we are tried, we are proven, we are trusted, and we can deliver. We have a trailblaze of delivery. And I want to tell you that, you know, when we go to the next elections, don't be overawed about what is going to happen. Imbui here said, we want only one thing, peace. And as we talk to you, we want to urge the government of the day, because we are hearing war drums as we go to elections. We are hearing people speaking recklessly about leadership. We are hearing people nearly saying, kama si mimi ipasuke. Those are dangerous people. Those are undesirable people. Those are misfits. And those are people that are not wanted to lead this country. We must be ready to say, if it is not me, my brother is as good as myself. Lakini kama unakimbia unasema, mimi nimechukua, nimeenda nayo, nimefanya nini, unaweza kujigamba, alafu mwisho ujipate taabani. Nyinyi ndugu zetu, nikimalizia, nataka kuwaomba. You are the controllers and owners of capital. And I've seen you, Bwana Munga, in the past, support big movements. Don't watch the wind to see if flag inaenda namna gani, because you know us and you know them. If you've made up your mind that you want to work with us, we are ready. If you've made up your mind that you want to walk this journey with us, we are ready. If you made up your mind that we are partners, we are ready. If you made up your mind that for us to have a cake for Kenyans to share, we must bake it together, we are ready. Kila mtu atachangia, ule wa kuni, ule wa unga, ule wa kiberiti, ule wa maji, ule wa sukari, ule wa mwiko, ule wa kijiko, ule wa sahani, kila mtu. Then we'll have a cake on the table. Then we can be able to talk about a one big happy family called Kenya, where nobody is in want, where the mention of a name does not send shivers down the spine of others, and where Kenyans are free to move from Mount Elgon and settle on Mount Kenya and vice versa. From the shores of Lake Victoria to the shores of Indian Ocean and vice versa. Tukifanya hivyo, ndugu zangu, we'll leave a legacy to our children, to our grandchildren, and to generations to come. That is called leaving this world better than you found it. And that is what we must do. I want to end by acknowledging the O.K.A Secretariat that nobody has mentioned. We have an O.K.A team here. You can stand up to be acknowledged. the boys and girls that have put us together, and we have supplicated ourselves to them and told them, be our managers, advise us, talk to us, we'll make the decisions as we move forward. Thank you. As a party of Ford Kenya, I also came with my members of parliament who are introduced, but I want to mention Dr. Chris Wamalwa here, the presumptive governor of Trans Nzoia County 2022. My other MPs, there was Nasir Sahal from Wajir, I don't know if she's here, Ferdinand Wanyonyi, Said Hirbai from Galole, Tana River, Majimbo Kalasinga from my constituency. I think some of them have gone back to parliament. I also have a leadership of my party from the mountain. Mama Hadija Mustafa, I don't know if she's here. That young girl is the director of elections of Ford Kenya Party. She comes from Kirinyaga. She's here with Stephen Dungu, chairman of Muranga. She's here with James Karimi, chairman of Nyeri. She's here with Mohammed, a vice chairman of Kirinyaga, and James Wambugu, chairman of Laikipia. We didn't invite everybody because we knew this was a restricted meeting, but those are the few that we have here. I want to end by saying this. Remember the good old song that we used to sing in school? Kanyaga inji yako kwa nguvu na raha. Munaikumbuka? So Mount Kenya and all other Kenyans, kanyaga inji yako kwa nguvu na raha, kwa sababu hilo ni hakikisho la O.K.A. Na hilo hakikisho tutalitekeleza vilivyo, liwe liwalo, mchana usiku, inyeshe isinyeshe. We will hold you and all other Kenyans, and we will work as your public trustees for the good of this country, to make sure that you matter the same way I matter, because that is the Kenya we must have. Thank you. May God bless you.
Na Senator, makofi tena kwa Senator. Na sasa kiongozi wa Mlembe, the party leader of Amani Congress Party, none other than Musalia Mudavadi. Karibu, makofi.
Mutongoria mwega kweliro magana iguru kwa Ngai emwitirie maguta Kenya yothe riu theri ni monekui Mudavandia twike mutongoria witu Kenya yothe riu theri ni monekui Mudavandia twike mutongoria witu ANC ithe turenda thayo Kenya yothe Mudavandia tutongorie ANC tuthure maendeleo Mudavandi ni mutongoria mwendi andu ANC tuthure maendeleo Mudavandi ni mutongoria mwendi andu Engineer Maina wa mae kinyia domereri eno Kenya yothe.
Asante sana. Okay. Can you applaud that team on my behalf? Thank you so much, ANC fraternity. Thank you so much. Now, let me start by acknowledging the leadership of the Mount Kenya Foundation, who have taken an extraordinary step in the current political dispensation to bring together Kenyans and parties for serious dialogue. Chairman Munga, Vice Chair Ibui, the directors, and all others who are associated with Mount Kenya Foundation, well done. This initiative is important because it is introducing a new way of interacting, a new way of sieving the leadership that Kenya is going to get. And finally, this process can lead to a very united nation. And I want to take this early opportunity to tell other stakeholders in this country, whether they are at the coast, whether they are in Western Kenya, whether they are in the Rift Valley, whether they are in Eastern Kenya, whether they are in Northern Kenya, let us borrow a leaf from the Mount Kenya Foundation in ensuring that there is proper dialogue without stone throwing, without jeering, but people listening to what others have to say. We want Kenyans to be persuaded by logic and not by the might of the gun or by the might of the stone. This is what we are looking for. As we move to the end of Uhuru Kenyatta's tenure, we must ask ourselves a few fundamental questions. Who can you trust? Who can you trust? And I repeat, who can you trust with the leadership of this country? Examine us. How many of us respect the rule of law? How many of us will make sure that if Munga has won his election, we shall respect the will of the people? We must ask ourselves, who can you trust that given a position of authority, that individual, he or she, will not in any way misuse the office to visit hell and trouble on other Kenyans because they believe there's a grudge to settle? These are the questions that Kenyans want answered. And they cannot be answered if everybody is not being given space to communicate and articulate their ideas. So I stand here, and the first message is that let us not vote in fear. Whether it is for or against, let us develop a culture where we shall not vote in fear. If we respect constitutionalism, if we respect the rule of law, then nobody has anything to fear. And I want to guarantee to you that the leadership you are seeing in this room does not elicit fear on anybody. And we are not here to sell fear. So we must ask ourselves, what are the real challenges facing us? What are the real challenges facing us? My colleagues have spoken to some of them. But basically, right now, as we move forward, the economy is going to be a big challenge. And I've been speaking to this severally. Do we have a huge public debt? If there's anybody here who does not believe that we have a big public debt, then I don't know where you're living. We have it. So let's work together, put good leadership, and find a solution to that public debt. If we do not, it will consume us. That is why taxes are there and they're increasing at a higher level. Because the burden is big. Munga might now have to shed off some of his stuff. Ibui may have to do the same. And indeed, COVID accelerated a lot of problems. Almost 2 million Kenyans lost their jobs. What do we do to give energy to Munga to bring back the ones he had to send home, or Ibui, and at the same time give him energy to employ even more? That is where we should be looking. The linkage between Mount Kenya Foundation, and I want to speak to this, the linkage between Mount Kenya Foundation and the other people, we should find a way of bridging this gap. Because there are almost 20 million small and medium enterprises in this country. Those are the juakalis, those are the small traders. Why do they feel they want to resent us? Or they want to resent Mount Kenya Foundation when you should not be resented? It is because somewhere along the line, and the truth be told, some policies have been put in place and they have injured those people, and they tend to look at Mount Kenya as the ones who have hit them. If the Gikomba trader, through the spirit of Harambee or cooperation, were sharing a container under the principle of the less than container load arrangement, and we sit at the treasury and we put a law that says they cannot cooperate, they can only bring in one container. If not, they are not in business. Gentlemen, who is creating resentment? Why are we setting up some of our people against other hard-working Kenyans? We should not allow this to happen. And that is what One Kenya stands for. We must embrace the big industrialist and also embrace the small business person. We must work together so that the pride of Mount Kenya can come back. And what pride am I talking about? Because their pride is Kenya's pride. When a farmer would pay school fees for the child, son or daughter, anaenda kusoma, analipa kwa sababu amepata pesa ya kutosha kutoka maziwa, pesa za kutosha kutoka majani chai, pesa za kutosha kwa kahawa, analipa, and that farmer would be proud and say, mimi nimesomesha mtoto wangu bila basari. Can you imagine that dignity? Mimi nimesomesha mtoto wangu bila basari. Right now, there are legislators here, and you must ask them just one question. If you were to put a benchmark, wouldn't it be interesting to say that this year I had a queue of 100 applicants for bursary, but because the economy has improved, now I have received only 50 applicants. Which means you are reducing the queue of those who are dependent. That is where we should be going. What can we do collectively? Borrowing from Equity Bank and others. What can we do to make sure that businessman in Kikomba, in Nyeri, in Meru, can have access to credit at a low interest rate so that they can feed themselves? This is the connection that seems to be missing between us and the ground today. This is why somebody is finding fertile ground to give a false impression that they have instant coffee solutions for those Kenyans who are suffering. The reality is, he does not have instant coffee solutions. They're not there. So we have to work. Kibaki said, we want a working nation. And he also said, obey the law. Whenever he was supposed to make a speech, and I remember that one, it was basically a one-liner speech. When people were not obeying the law, Kibaki just sent a message and said, obey the law. And it was a headline. Full stop. I want to do something a little bit extraordinary here. Forgive me for this. But I want to request Gibson Githumbi, if you could just come here. He's a member of the Mount Kenya Foundation. There's a very special reason why I'm requesting him to come here. Because I want us to debunk the message that the Mount Kenya Foundation is a billionaires club. I want people to understand that people have worked to get where they are. This gentleman here was my prefect in Nairobi School. I was his junior, his rebel. Others call him Mono, depending on which school you are in. But why I'm here? And listen carefully. Because, and bear with me, because it's a very important message for Kenya. Gibson's father had a kiosk at Westlands on Mutiti Road. And my father was also in Westlands. The kiosk is the one that educated Gibson. In Nairobi School. And for as long as I can remember, from that kiosk, Gibson was never sent away because his father had failed to pay school fees. Right now, Gibson is a big contractor in this country. Gata. This is him. From a kiosk to where he is. We can work hard, we can cooperate, we can turn the tables in this country, and everybody will prosper. Thank you. What we want to achieve is not a hustling nation. We want to achieve a thriving nation. This is what we want to achieve. So we must change and make sure that farmers are paid promptly for their produce. Whether it is tea, whether it is coffee, whether it is milk, we must make sure that our policemen are paid adequately. Our teachers are paid adequately. We must allow business to grow, and we give them the necessary support for them to grow. This is the agenda that we should be talking about as a country. At the end of the day, the theme is beauty. To achieve growth, you need to have a working economy for everybody. Yani uchumi bora na pesa mfukoni, we need peace. However, to sustain the peace, you also need a working economy. They underpin each other. So for us to have peace, let us create jobs for people. For us, let the border the right return from his work. This is what we are going to do. Let everybody get what is rightfully theirs. I had Mugo, who we were in Laikipia with Twitter. He made a point. We want peace. I was in Baruch, in Nakuru, in a village on the hill. Actually, it's an IDP camp. Only 2 weeks ago. After the conflict, 13 years later, not everybody has gone back to their shamba. I came across ladies who are asking me, we don't know who even picks our tea in Baruch. And there are similar cases of this nature. We must have a clear agenda to make sure that we can restore hope in the lives of these people. These, ladies and gentlemen, are the messages that we want to put across. Let us eliminate violence at election time. And O.K.A. was right. It is true. Through the Kofi Annan talks, I would say that you people of Mount Kenya, you have a solid lady in Martha Karua. Because as I was team leader on the other side, she was team leader on the other, and you guys, she's a tough negotiator. She doesn't blink. We want leaders that will not blink. We want leaders that will work with integrity. If Mount Kenya is as populous as we know it is, when it is resource allocation, let the resource allocation reflect that population. Let it reflect it. And equally, if there are challenges in other parts of the country, let us also find a way of compensating those extra challenges that may be in other parts of the country, so that everybody gets a fair chance. Let us make our judiciary work. Let justice be delivered on time. Ladies and gentlemen, this is what One Kenya stands for. This is what we stand for. In 1982, there was the coup attempt. And Some of us, at least I was one of them, we were rounded up. In a very strange way. A white Land Rover drove to Mululu at my mother's home. And in that Land Rover, there were about 5 well-fed men, hefty ones, who came in and they told my mother, "We want your son. He's actually a very good boy." This was at the university. And we'll bring him back. These guys took me away, and my mother never saw me for another 2 weeks. But I'm revisiting this because it is important that Kenyans also know that when there was that crisis, for 1 week before I found myself in Mululu, when my uncles were scared of taking me in because my father was in Mexico on duty, they were saying, just try and find your own way out. I actually went through courtesy of a friend of mine who we were in school with, called Mukundi Wahome from Odhaya, and his father, Ejindio Ngatia Wahome, allowed me to stay in his house for 1 whole week in hibernation. That tells you that never go ethnic, never profile ethnically, because I was saved and hidden by somebody from Mount Kenya in Othaya when the chips were down and my own uncles were hiding. The message here is that we are one people. Let us hold hands and pull each other together. Let us change Kenya together. You cannot second guess Uhuru on matters of infrastructure in this country. You can't. He has done an extraordinary job. However, when I was in Meru, my Meru friends told me, when you go back to Nairobi and you have a chance to talk to Uhuru, tell him we are a little bit disturbed because the Mau Mau roads have not yet been completed on this side of Meru, but they are moving very well on the other side. And the Meru, our eastern side, also fought for independence as Mau Mau. So basically, Rome cannot be built in a day. But here was a message that people are yearning for more development. Let us make Kenya stable so that we can also complete the Mau Mau roads on the other side of the mountain. And also roads in other parts of the country. The lady said, water is life. In fact, if I recollect, I think it was a message written by Jomo Kenyatta somewhere, that water is life. Let us also remind Kenyans that his or her vote is also life. We have reached a stage where the vote is also life. Siasa mbaya. Gideon, I know you have the rights to that one. Siasa mbaya, maisha mbaya. So let us move. My final message to the young people. I'll request, with your indulgence, that just 2 young people come here. One is called Kamau, Gikuru, and the other is Mungare. It will come. Let me say this, because there was even a young girl who said that she had not found a partner yet. Maybe I've brought two partners here very close to you. Okay, why do I bring these two young men here? Because I want to send a very clear message that we as elders, and I'm talking as an elder in their context, not in the context of our PC or Munga, but in the context of these young men. Why I am bringing them here is because our experience should not be used to suppress the youth. We should not constantly remind the youth that wewe ni kijana, wewe ni mtoto. No. Let us bring them into the fold. Gikuru here is the Secretary General of ANC party. He is from Muranga. This other gentleman, Mungare, is from Nyamira, Kisii. He is head of ICT and digitization matters in the party. If you want to work with the youth, give them responsibility. Let us not pontificate and keep on saying, your time is tomorrow. No, their time is now. Thank you. So, in conclusion, I repeat to the Mount Kenya Foundation, when you go home, ask yourself, who can you trust? Who can you trust? When you sleep, who can you trust? If you are a businessman in Nairobi and you are a landlord, how do you feel when your houses have been occupied and you have never gotten restitution for those houses? These are the questions. Who can you trust? Who can you trust? Who can you trust? Who can you trust? God bless Mount Kenya Foundation, and let us work together. All right. Let's wind up. Before I give up the microphone, may I just recorrect on two issues after all that. Two issues. One of them is, why is Mount Kenya agitated? Mount Kenya is agitated, Cyrus Jirongo, because we are not going to field our own candidate. And we know we are exposed for reasons we have given. Number two, I want to tell you, we have done statistics. The economy of Rwanda, Burundi, and Southern Sudan cannot match the economy of Mount Kenya region. And yet, we the governors of Mount Kenya, the 11 governors, we cannot be able to give our kids, brilliant university kids, more than 10,000 from bursary, because we are not getting our fair share. When Ramu is giving 100,000, Wambara is giving 10,000 or 5,000.
That cannot continue. That's why we are afraid. Number two, this beautiful lady you are hearing is not worried. Getting more warriors, uniting. Because the love we are talking about, Senator Gideon, si ile love ya mapenzi, ni ile love, godly love, ile Jesus was preaching. Love your neighbor. We have a lot of love, and we just want more and more of you to unite so that we are assured of our future. We have not changed our boundaries in Mount Kenya region for the last 25 years. Please promise us, if you get these positions, within 100 days, you'll just make sure that happens. Mwisho kabisa. It is the issue of one man, one sharing. 1 vote. One person, 1 vote, 1 sharing. Asanteni sana, Bwana Imbwe, endelea.
Thank you so much, Governor of Embu. I want to thank, our chief guests, the 5 of you, for what you have done and told us. You have more than met our expectation. We'll take up some of your counsel that we promise. We'll take that as a good critique and a calling for this country, for all of us. I just want to say 2 things. One, the Mount Kenya people know the responsibilities, as Bwana Gideon Moi said. But we also know 2 other responsibilities beside what you told us. One, as Mount Kenya people, we know we'll give direction to the country as far as our political direction is concerned. That's a responsibility we will not want to abdicate. 2, as ourselves, as Mount Kenya people, wherever we live, wherever we go, we give dignity to our differences. Whether you are Muslim, we respect you, because we also expect you to respect us as a Christian or as an atheist. Whether you are white or black, we don't care, we respect our differences. We give our differences the dignity that it deserves. That's why we're able to live we live anywhere in the corner of this world. My last remark, I think after this, I ask the directors of Mount Kenya to come out there and have a photo with the 5 principles together. Then I'll call Mheshimiwa Honorable Marende to come and give a vote of thanks, because we are the people who invited them. They are the ones to give us thanks. But before that, most of you would be wondering, then where are we going to from here? And let me articulate where we are going to from here. We've listened to you. 2 weeks ago, we listened to Raila Amolo and Odinga in the same room. We have heard you. We have not yet chosen a preferred candidate. As Mount Kenya Foundation, as Mount Kenya people, we have no preferred candidate. What we have done with these 2 events is to ask you as O.K.A team, get out into the Mount Kenya. We have given you the key to walk into Mount Kenya and they preach your gospel preach your policies. Some of them you have articulated there, and then you convince the people. The process we follow as the people in this region to make a decision. Once you talk to them, or once you talk to us, we will deliberate and we will go to Limuru 3 as a community of Gema Nation. We will go to Limuru 3 and make a decision who we are going to support as a community. That is our process that we are going to follow. So get out and tell your policies. So to us, we only ask you one thing as O.K.A team. We ask you only one thing: respect our president. If you don't respect our president, you call him names, you say what? No, Mount Kenya people will not be with you. Uhuru to us is more than a Linda. He is a Mudhamaki. And it's important you as O.K.A team, you realize that. Respect our president. With this, I want to say thank you all for coming, and thank you for the wise ones that you have given to us. We have taken notes and we move forward. So before I call Honorable Marende, I want to call the Mount Kenya Foundation and the 5 principals to come over here for a photo. Only those people, the principals plus the directors of Mount Kenya Foundation. Hello, thank you very much, Mheshimiwa Marende. Let's sit down briefly for, a vote of thanks.
Ladies and gentlemen, please hear me. Order, ladies and gentlemen. Please hear me. Shall we all kindly be seated? Please resume your seats. I will not keep you for too long. Mine is a small formality, so I will not hold you. Everybody kindly be seated, including my good Deputy Speaker Farah Maalim. Please be seated. Please be seated. Ladies and gentlemen, I know that you are all very respectable Kenyans, so kindly lend me your ears for not more than 3 minutes. Mine is to move a vote of thanks, and I feel exceptionally honored and privileged to be invited to perform this task on this auspicious occasion. Although for me, Titus, the Vice Chair of MKF, you have more or less taken me down memory lane, because not very long ago, I was privileged to have the honor to say the last word as the Speaker. So I rise to the occasion, and I will say the last word. First, I want to thank Mount Kenya Foundation for setting up this occasion, and indeed God has been very kind to us and has given us an excellent forum. And Reverend Karanja, who was my provost at some point, will bear me witness. The Bible tells us very authoritatively that where one or two are gathered in his name, he is in the midst of them. We are more than 2 or 3, so God is surely in our midst. And so, the first area where I must begin to thank is our God, our Creator, that has been so kind to us to enable us to have a very peaceful forum such as has taken place most of the afternoon and part of the evening today. And indeed that reminds us that as Kenyans, as we moved on to achieve independence, we said a prayer, we pleaded with God, and we put all our supplications before our Maker, captured very strongly in our national anthem. And among other things, we asked God to bless our nation, that plenty be found within our borders. And it is my humble submission that indeed God has done his part. He's given us a spectacular mosaic that is Kenya, rich in resources, all resources. What ails us? Leadership, good governance. God has done his part. Let us do our part. And indeed we thank him. Secondly, I want to thank the Mount Kenya Foundation, led by the chairman, Mr. Munga, and deputized by Titus Mbai, for putting this together for us. Thirdly, I want to thank our chief guests, the 5 principals. We are glad that you took up the challenge. You have spoken your hearts out. We have heard you loud and clearly. And to Mount Kenya, I want to say this, that I believe that having listened to the 5 principles, you must be persuaded that the person who will preserve, deliver on, sustain, and increase President Uhuru's legacy is in the House. That safe pair of hands is in here. Please let us then move on to make the right decision and give them the opportunity to serve us. Because then they will ensure that President Uhuru is remembered. President Uhuru is honored. And I say this from a position of authority, that indeed even when Kenya was threatened to get to the brink, I was the speaker that time. All those reconciliatory talks were hosted under my stewardship. I still have that talent. I have listened to these gentlemen very attentively, and I see that they mean well. They will give us that Kenya that we are yearning for. But we are asking you in return, please reciprocate in kind. You must be prepared, as you all appear to agree, that you are first among equals. Give us one. One of you must be better. All of you are good. But there's one who is better. And the wise tell us that a good idea must give way to a better idea. And so allow me to finish at this point. Kwa sababu nyinyi ni wa Kenya. Na mimi juzi niliongea huko Meru. Nikasema ndio, wanaume na pengine mwanamke atakuja, wanajitokezea wanataka kuwania kiti ya urais wa Kenya. Lakini kati yao kuna nyang'au. Na nyang'au habadiliki. Na ni nani nyang'au? Si nyinyi mnajua. Kati ya hao watu wanataka kuwania urais, kuna wezi, kuna wakora, kuna walagai, kuna wakabila. Hawatabadilika. Nyang'au ni nyang'au, habadiliki. Mchunge sana. Usione mtu ni mwizi leo, ama amekuwa mkabila leo, ama amekuwa mlagai leo, ufikiria ukimpatia urais atabadilika. Hawezi. Asanteni sana Wakenya wenzangu. God bless you. Go well. You now stand dismissed.
Thank you. Thank you.
Ndina ikeno kiingi muno thengia Karuna nihe ukorwo makinyitana we nawe no hatumangia na gikeno kiingi muno.
Wahitie uge undu ngithukiria ricambritwa ndukeriririe kumenya uria ngukorwo ngigwika.
Gwika atia?
Ni thina uria ndite ri kama kere kuria nginya ruo no ngithie cagi kiu no ni ngwibanga menye kana ni nguthi mundu megura ni kuruga nguri.